So there has been a new AI startup that actually claims to have completely thrashed everything that we know in terms of the state-of-the-art systems, and it's pretty insane if what they're claiming is true. Take a look at this. They've said introducing MAISA or MAISA KPU, the next leap in AI reasoning capabilities. The Knowledge Processing Unit is a reasoning system for LMS that leverages their reasoning power and overcomes their intrinsic limitations. But that, of course, isn't the craziest part, okay? Take a look at these benchmarks. This is absolutely insane if this is true. We can see that on the left-hand side, this knowledge processing unit, the KPU, achieves 96.92%, which pretty much 97% on the GSM-8K, 86.2% on the drop benchmarks. Like, look at these benchmarks, guys. 100% on multi-step arithmetic, whereas GPT-4 gets 4%. This is absolutely insane. Now, it isn't like an entirely new LLM system, it's like GPT-4 on top of a system. So, of course, you can kind of credit that with GPT-4 Turbo. But as someone did point out, why didn't we compare, KPU with GPT-4 rather than KPU with GPT-4 Turbo? Because where's GPT-4 Turbo in the benchmarks? Cause GPT-4 Turbo is slightly better than GPT-4, so it doesn't make sense to compare the KPU with GPT-4 Turbo than with GPT-4. It just doesn't make sense. But the point being is that even if this is, quote-unquote a GPT-4 wrapper, it still poses some very, very interesting capabilities because, as I was making the video, they recently released a demo and it is pretty cool. So this is, kind of some agent because it has multi-step reasoning, and the reasoning allows it to achieve much better things. Now, another thing here that's pretty crazy, what you can see is that these ones, are zero-shot, okay? So zero-shot just means that they gave it one question and it comes back with one answer, whereas three-shot, they kind of prompted it in a way before and then they ask it the question and then it's able to get that, and you can see the Gemini Ultra. That's 32-shot, that one's 5-shot, this one is chain of thought prompting, and this one is 5-shot, okay? So this zero-shot is just like one question, it uses all its reasoning steps and then it comes with an answer. So that is why this is pretty crazy. Now, they actually talk about more of this in their blog post, and we're going to do a deep dive onto this because they didn't release that much stuff, but they did release a demo which I'm going to dive into, and then after I show you guys the demo, we're going to look at some of the other stuff. So they said, today MAISA is thrilled to announce the KPU, the Knowledge Processing Unit. The KPU is a proprietary rich framework that leverages the power of LLMs with the decoupling of reasoning and data processing and an open-ended system capable of solving complex tasks. This white paper aims to show what the KPU is, which is its architectural overview and how it has outperformed the more advanced language models such as GPT-4 or Claude-3 Opus in several reasoning tasks. So, Claude-3 Opus that everybody knows and loves, this system looks like it beats Claude-3 and GPT-4 standalone. Now, it does talk about the limitations of LLMs. It says these large language models, based on their current architecture, have several innate inherent problems that persist no matter how much they advance their reasoning capacity or the number of tokens they can work with. Number one is the hallucinations. When a query is given to an LLM, the veracity of the response cannot be 100% guaranteed, no matter how many billions of parameters the model has. This is due to the way that the model is, and of course, the context limit. And it says lately more models are appearing that are more capable of handling more tokens, but we must wonder at what cost. And essentially, usually the cost is, slower times or more computation. So this is where they give us the architectural overview. So essentially, this is where we get into how this thing actually works. So they actually talk about the transformer architecture. So they just talk about the transformer architecture as the famous lost in middle, which means that sometimes the model is unable to retrieve key information if it's in the middle of the context window. And it says that, LLM is not always up to date because it's not be able to up to the internet. And of course, limited capabilities to interact with the digital world. They're fundamentally language-based systems lacking the ability to connect with external services. And this can pose challenging things as their restricted abilities to interact with files, API systems, or other external software, basically saying that they're not inherently designed for that. So this is the architectural overview for this system, and this could be game-changing because achieving this kind of reasoning just on top of GPT-4 is absolutely incredible. Because that means that more advanced systems combined with this could be even better. So essentially, they state what they have is they have this reasoning engine right here, and this is the brain of the KPU, which orchestrates a step-by-step plan to solve the user tasks. And to design the plan, it relies on an LLM or a VLM and all available tools. And the LLM is plug-and-play and currently extensively tested with GPT-4 Turbo. So the reasoning engine here, this is where you put the LLM, well, that's what they said. It's the brain of the KPU, and this relies on the LLM, which is here. I'm guessing that's inside the reasoning engine, I'm not sure. Then, of course, execution engine, this is receiving the commands from the reasoning engine, which it executes, and its result is sent back to the reasoning engine as feedback for replanning. So I'm guessing that this is some kind of feedback loop, which is what they have: reasoning engine, execution, then reasoning again. So probably reasoning, thinking what do I do, it executes, and then once it executes, it comes back again and then reasons again. So here's why they talk about the virtual context window, and they state that it manages the input and output of data and information between the reasoning engine and the execution engine, ensuring that information arrives at the reasoning engine and the data stays in the execution engine. In this way, the LLM context window underlying the reasoning engine is maintained only with reasoning and not with data, maximizing the value of the tokens. And this input and output management of data and information is not only covered by the user prompt and files, but also external services and systems such as the internet, Wikipedia, and other things. And it says the system has been inspired by the architecture of operating systems where they're responsible for managing and orchestrating the various hardware. And it says this decoupling between reasoning and command execution allows the LLM to focus exclusively on reasoning, relieving it of any variable operation of hallucination, data processing, or retrieval of current information. And it says the articulation of these three components in general, the KPU architecture, opens the door to future analysis of the quality and performance on tasks with large volumes of data and multimodal content, open problem solving, interaction with digital systems such as APIs and databases. So what they have here is a pretty insane thing. They also do say unlimited multimodal data. They do say they have a giant virtual context window. I'm not sure if it was unlimited, but it was pretty insane from what I heard. And of course, so yeah, they got a reasoning engine, and it seems that the reasoning engine is where all of the work is done. I don't know how entirely it's done because the problem is they haven't released a technical paper just yet. They just released a blog post, and blog posts are fairly limited in what they do state. But if we take a look at the benchmarks, you can see right here it says that we are pleased to show the excellent results we have achieved by testing our system against the reasoning benchmarks which the state-of-the-art LLMs are usually evaluated. And as you'll see, we're compared to GPT-4 Mistral, Large Claude, Opus, or Google Gemini against our reasoning LLM. And of course, we kind of do better than that. So they also said it sets a new paradigm in math reasoning. It is the GSM-AKK, the grade school math, which is composed of 85,000 high-quality linguistically diverse mathematics problems for elementary schools. And essentially they actually talk about how numerous methodologies have been explored in the context of experimental setup, including chain of thought, F-shot prompting, code-based self-verification. And then they said, we deemed it pertinent to evaluate our system using a zero-shot approach to closely mimic the standard operational conditions. Basically, what they're saying is that if you're a normal person and you're going to be using these systems, you're not going to be using 5-shot, you're not going to be using 32-shot, you're not going to be using few-shot, you're going to ask it one question. And when you ask it one question, you usually expect one response. So while chain of thought is good, they're saying that we're going to evaluate it using zero-shot, and we've refrained from employing any form of prompt engineering or iterative attempt. So it's a one-size-fits-all thing, apparently. And you can see on the GSM-AK, it performs at, I think it doesn't even say right here, but it's clearly like 97% above Claude-3 Opus, which is chain of thought. This is zero-shot, that's pretty insane, above Gemini Ultra, above GPT-4. And it says surpasses all state-of-the-art models in the GSM-AK test. Now they've tested this with GPT-4 Turbo, and I'm really wondering which other models, if they test it with, is this going to be better? Because if GPT-4 falls way down here, what about if they test it with Opus and then use Opus to reason? Could they even go further? I don't know, maybe they are experimented with that. Then we got the math benchmark, which is a drop. So they talk about the drop benchmark, which is a 96,000 question benchmark. They said, contrast to GPT-4, which utilizes 3-shot approach, KPU is benchmarked using 0-shot approach without the application of any prompt engineering techniques. This approach results in the KPU establishing a new state-of-the-art benchmark in performance, showcasing its strong capability of complex reasoning. And we can see right here that this achieves, I'm not even sure what percentage, I think 86% or something like that, but that's clearly above CLA3 Opus and GPT-4. And here's the thing again. This is 0-shot, and also, we are going to get into the actual demo of this because the demo of this is pretty crazy. And I probably should have shown you guys the demo. In fact, let's actually skip to the demo now. But yeah, the demo is here. So the demo of the software, essentially what they did was they had this right here, okay? And it's going to zoom in. Okay, so essentially what they had here, and I don't know why they didn't, the way how they did this demo, it was good, but they just didn't say exactly what was going on. So they have this email from a user. The user is having a problem, so the user says, urgent delay in delivery from foodanddrinks.com. I hope this email finds you well. I'm Steven, and essentially the problem is that this person has sent an email and he's, wrote some wrong things in the email. And okay, so this guy's wrote an email to a company, right? Okay, long story short, he wrote an email. People get emails all the time. Then here we can see the software, and then of course, we have the orders in a CSV file. So we have all this data of CSV files. So we got all of this data, all this order data. I'm guessing this is from the company from the last couple of weeks or days or whatever. Then essentially all they did was they added that data into the prompts menu. You can see after scrolling through that they added it into prompt. Then you can see now answer the customer's email, and then of course send it to contact@maisa.ai. So you can see now it's reasoning and it's thinking, okay, what do I need to do here? So essentially what we do is, and they did actually test us against GPT-4, I will show you that in a second. You can see that it is able to reason. It's reasoning, and then we get the first step. So then it says the process begins by focusing on understanding the content of a specific email. This is achieved by interpreting the text found within a file named email.txt. The goal here is to grasp the customer's request fully by examining the email's content. This step is crucial as it lays the foundation for any actions that will follow, such as responding to the customer's email or addressing their needs based on new information extracted from the email. Then you can see here that this thing will continue to reason, and it says after understanding the need to comprehend, yada yada, access and read the email. By doing so, extract the exact words and request. You can see it's reading. After reading the email, a file containing the orders needs to be accessed and examined. Then it continues to reason. Having gathered the necessary data, this is done by searching for the unique identifier. Continuing to reason, continues to reason. Alright folks, that's a wrap for today. I hope you found the content interesting. Share your thoughts in the comments below, I'd love to hear from you. Stay tuned for more exciting stuff, and I'll catch you all in the next one. See ya!